Let's get into the details now. Former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta has been picked up by the FBI in the United States, escalating what began as a visa-related detention and adding a new twist to his legal battle with U.S. authorities. Mr. Ofori-Atta had been held by Immigration and Customs Enforcement after his visa was revoked and is expected to appear in court on January 20. But Ghana's ambassador to the U.S. has now revealed that the FBI's involvement suggests the matter may extend beyond immigration issues. Victor Smith also disclosed that Mr. Ofori-Atta has declined outright assistance from the Ghanaian consulate. Here are excerpts from PM Express.
I was also informed the FBI were involved. And of course, that sort of corroborated with what the Attorney General told me, that the FBI had informed him that they had picked him up. We waited for a while. After about a few hours, they came back to us to say, I suspect so. The ICE did the arrest, but a few hours ago, I was also informed the FBI were involved. And of course, that sort of corroborated with what the Attorney General told me, that the FBI had informed him that they had picked him up.
Okay.
So
were you
I
also,
suspect.
Yeah, yeah you suspect. You suspect that.
I suspect it's a combination of these two factors. ICE normally would pick you for immigration issues.
Okay.
But then, of course, when the FBI comes in, then there must be some criminality or Interpol police request. So the red alert comes in there. So the combination of the two of them, convinces me that Ghana government had requested for this man to be brought in to help us, if you like, unravel some issues that have been brought against him as a former minister.
Were you also briefed about the revocation of his valid visa?
No, the Attorney General mentioned that to me. The extent of my involvement at this stage was when he had been picked up. I discussed it with the consular officers of my embassy, and we decided to make a request to make sure that he was being treated properly as the protocols, international protocols. And so we requested, and they agreed in principle to allow us to come and visit. But just before we set out, the ICE people came again and said the detainee had refused to meet with us without his lawyers. That was the initial response from the detention center. And they were going to go back to him and probably request that his lawyers appear so we can come and verify for ourselves that he's being treated fairly and not being denied, for instance, his medication and all that. But we waited for a while. After about a few hours, they came back to us to say the detainee, being the ex-minister, had refused now to see us under any circumstance. So that was the end of the road for me and the embassy.
So,
well, U.S.-based immigration lawyer Janelle Oklu admits Ken Ofori-Atta's top-notch legal team, which includes former U.S. Attorney General and Senator John Ashcroft, are likely to put up a good fight for the embattled minister.
Mr. Ofori-Atta's case is clearly not a typical one. I know you mentioned...
Explain that. What makes it a non-typical case?
Oh, sure. It's the fact that he's a high-profile personality, a former minister in the Ghanaian government. I heard the statistic you gave about how many Ghanaians are currently detained, how many Ghanaians are up for deportation. But I can tell you quite certainly that he's not your regular Ghanaian in detention. And you yourself, when you were talking about his legal team that he has hired to defend him, I mean, here, as we say in the US, he has really lawyered up. Yeah. Okay, he is really lawyered up. When you see the lawyers that he's hired, former American AG, that is an indication of somebody who he's not going easily. So I was thinking about that when you mentioned the statistic about 99% of the people who go into detention end up deported. Trust me, less than, 0 point whatever percent have a former American AG as their lawyer. So, he's definitely not your typical case.
And that was US-based immigration lawyer Janelle Oklu in an interview with my colleague Evan Spencer. But right about now, Martin Pibble joins us on the line for more on this. And Martin, grateful for your time this morning on desk. Well, the ambassador says the FBI has picked him up. How significant is this in the criminal process?
It's extremely significant because now with the FBI coming in, as the ambassador has said, it lends more credence to Dr. Ayene's, revelation on Saturday that he had been working with the U.S. government for some months now, and so that is the result of it, which is the arrest. So it means that Ayene is being vindicated. Remember, Mamiesi, on Saturday, a lot of people went on Facebook and started questioning the bona fides of the Dr. Ayene revelation. Okay, I thought you were asking a question. So this will put it to rest. This will put the accusations that Ayene wasn't, like Ayene's statements were false, to rest. This will put that to rest. And so also, Mamiesi, it means that now we are looking in the direction of the extradition as well, okay? Because once the FBI gets involved, it means that it's not only immigration, but also the issues of the extradition, and very key, the other cases the Attorney General is investigating independent of the one that the SML case requires. As you know, the extradition request we are publicly aware of is one that came from the OSP to Dr. Ayene and then to Okujeto and to the Americans. But this is clear also that apart from the SML case, Dr. Ayene has his independent cases against Ofori-Atta. And that's exhilarating, very exhilarating, because it means that accountability is being ratcheted up a notch or two higher.
Right. But without speculating on guilt, what kinds of issues typically draws a former foreign public officials or the FBI to picking up a former, government official like Ken in the States? Martin, can you hear me?
Yes. So, as Ayene stated, the other cases also involve what? State funds. Yes. Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can hear you.
Hello?
Martin, I can hear you. Yes, please do.
Okay. Yeah, so from Ayene's statement, and also earlier on, as I mentioned Mamiesi on your show yesterday, that we had heard grapevine that there are other cases against him. They all involve accountability. Accountability for our state resources. When Akufo-Addo was in office, his administration, we kept crying that corruption had gone through the roof. Corruption had gone through the roof, and he kept denying and saying, no, there was no corruption, there was no corruption. Now, you have it. Ayene is investigating other cases of loss of our public funds, right? So that is what it is. It's about serious money. And you heard him even say that, look, those other cases will blow our minds. And that's the phrase he used. He said that those other cases are mind-blowing. Yes, I'm aware Frank Davis doesn't want us to talk about them. It's to be expected. Of course, he's acting for Ofori-Atta. So anything that he will do to make sure that we don't discuss those, he would say. But it's also within the right of the Attorney General to give us preliminary information that those other cases are mind-blowing. And so we are looking with their eyes.
Right. But Mr. Ofori-Atta is expected in court on January 20 for immigration matters. Well, can a criminal, case, for instance, be brought or, run concurrently with this?
Absolutely, yes. Oh, in the U.S. it happens. No, I'm not a U.S. lawyer, but at least I've traveled around the U.S. over 2 decades. We've seen some practically. Yes. And it's not in the US. In the UK, it's like that. Ghana is like that. So you have one accused person having multiple cases, and they all run. Yes, because sometimes we don't have the luxury of time to say finish this case before you go and start the other one. No, but of course, it's done in such a way that the accused is not spread thin, right? But we don't wait that if an accused has 3 cases, only one will be dealt with at a time. Not in the US, not in the UK, not in Ghana.
Right. But Ken has also reportedly declined, consular service or even help. And from your experience, is that a routine decision, or does it carry some form of legal or strategic implication in this matter?
Yeah, the last one, strategic implication. That's it. And let me tell you, Ofori-Atta is not the first to seek to decline consular service. The most, the example that really comes to my mind is President Reagan. In 1981, when he was in office, right? There was an assassination attempt on him. That's US president, right? He's Republican. So when they took him, they were taking him to surgery. They were going to do a surgery. He opened the mask and then asked the doctors, I hope you are all Republicans. You see, in the US, said the 2 dominant parties now is the Republicans and the Democrats. So a president who was being taken to the theater for surgery, he removed the mask, looked up to the doctors, and asked them, I hope you are all Republicans. What he meant was that, look, be sure that we don't have a mole around you, probably a Democrat who wants to see him dead, right? So it's normal. Even somebody going to theater is thinking whether the doctors are Republicans or Democrats, much less Ofori-Atta, who is in custody and probably doesn't need a consular service. So don't blame Ofori-Atta at all. More than 40 years ago, President Reagan showed the way. So I don't have a fault with him if he says he doesn't want the Ambassador Victor Smith and his team to come near him. It's normal.
Well, I mean, does that also not block a way for him, for instance, to ensure that he's being treated fairly in detention? I mean, I know government is after him for some allegations they are making against him, but if you have representation in the country in which you are and there are issues like this coming up, could there be a situation where you would need them to also, back you up?
I'm confident that it's because his lawyers are able to secure for him the best of services. That's why he doesn't need the consular services from Victor Smith and his team. Because don't forget, let's go back to the other facts. He's retained top-notch lawyers. Right. The lead lawyer, Ashcroft.
John Ashcroft, yes.
Yes, Ashcroft was Attorney General during President Bush's time. President Bush's time. So can you see Attorney General from those days, and then now all these years. So you see how his pedigree is gone up and up. And this is a Republican government, right? So I'm sure Ashcroft has a lot of doors opening for him. So I wouldn't be surprised that Ashcroft will have more doors opening for him than Ambassador Victor Smith can open. So I think that that one shouldn't pose a problem.
Well, with you bringing that up, does that mean that it's possible that Ken will not be extradited, looking at the legal, mind surrounding?
As for possible, it's possible, yes. I mean, so meaning on paper, yes. But practically, it's a different kettle of fish. We don't have enough information to process it. Okay, we don't have enough information, the dynamics, etc. But we can discuss a few in order also to send a message to the American government and also the US Embassy here that now we are, as Ghanaians, we are now more engaged, we are becoming more savvy. We see that extradition is a political process. It's a very political process.
Right.
When it comes to extradition, which is different from the ICE matter, can you imagine, under US law, when the judge is done saying that, yes, you can extradite this person, under US law, that is not final. The judge's decision is not final. It's a political decision that belongs to the Secretary of State. That's our equivalent of a foreign minister. So it's the Secretary of State who decides. It's not the judge. The judge's own is just one of the factors.
Right.
But after that, the Secretary of State can look at it and for political reasons say no or say yes. So it's good that we're engaging and saying that we know it's very political, etc. So the more we drum this to the US government and the ambassadors here so that they know that we understand this game, it will help them to want to do us right, because we've sent many people to them, the other accused persons. In the past, I had clients who were extradited to the US, etc. Easy, right? Once for us in Ghana, the court makes the decision, we extradite them. I didn't see the hands of a foreign minister in those days stopping the extradition or saying we are waiting for foreign minister. So, as far as I'm aware, in those cases, once the Ghanaian court says extradite the person, boom, he's gone. So we're reminding the US that there's a quid pro quo. We've done well for them all these decades. We've extradited a lot of people to them. So they should do well to make sure that they also do us right by bringing down Ofori-Atta, and they can do it.
Well, when the FBI enters the picture, how do the stakes change fundamentally, or could this still end without criminal charges?
Oh, yes. If on paper, once again, as I've said, we don't have all the facts on Ofori-Atta, so we are discussing law, right? Yes. So on paper, yes. When the FBI comes in, so you heard the immigration lawyer say, but that's the immigration side where they say 0.00 some percentage. But when it comes to the extradition side, it's far more complex. And then, as I've stated, there's a lot of politics and there's a lot of economics in there. Yes, FBI come in, but it's also very important to remember that Ofori-Atta is an investor in the US. He has invested, right? He has businesses running in the US. And the US tries on a lot of foreign investors and debt. The US economy, you check, they are highly indebted. And a lot of foreigners have brought in money. So one of the things we'll be looking at is that will they easily throw Ofori-Atta under the bus? Then number two, in the US, there's what they call lobbying. You see, Ghana, there is lobbying, but it's not being properly regulated as an industry. But in the US, it's a full industry. So there are people who are there and their duty is to lobby. They go and influence governments, don't do this, don't do that. And I'm sure that is basic, that Ofori-Atta will require or engage lobbyists. So while the lawyers are talking in court, the lobbyists are also working behind the scenes to make sure that all costs it doesn't count. So it's quite a complex process. But the good thing is that at least the fact that now he's in custody, yes, though it's not yet the end of the case, it's a form of accountability because he is running away. He should have come back. And this is where we should be reminding Akufo-Addo and the MPP. Akufo-Addo and the MPP to prevail upon Ofori-Atta to come, because he's embarrassing us. The more he stays in custody there, then the more we are suffering embarrassment as a nation, that your finance minister is running away, he's a fugitive from justice. We don't want such embarrassment as Ghana. So the MPP, if they really consider themselves this incredible, they should come out openly. They should seek Ofori-Atta privately and come and assure Ghanaians that they've asked Ofori-Atta to come. The same for Akufo-Addo. It's embarrassment. But we can't give you public office. You enjoy all the privileges, etc. You leave office and now the payback is to embarrass us internationally. You embarrass us internationally. What have we done to deserve such embarrassment? What have we done? Is it also our guilt, our sin is to have voted for MPP to come into office, and then now you get opportunity to serve as finance minister, then you are asked to come and answer questions, you run away, you get arrested, and now it's embarrassment internationally for us as Ghana. I don't think we deserve that. If anything at all, we gave him an opportunity to serve in the high public office. Minister, that's very high. And the finance minister at that. So he should reduce the embarrassment to Ghana by coming. And the MPP and Ofori-Atta, Akufo-Addo must step in and publicly tell us what they are doing. It's not a matter of just politics. And that's how come when you read statements from some of the NPP members that, oh, they would advise Ofori-Atta not to come, then you are like, really? Really? We understand what we are saying. We give you public office, such an honor, and then the payback is to embarrass us internationally. Oh no, we can't take that.
On our decks, we are always delighted to have you. Enjoy the rest of your day. And that's Martin Pitbull, private legal practitioner, giving us some insights into the issues arising on Ken Ofori-Atta, who is currently in detention in the United States. Well, 2 people have been burned to death in a road accident at Offinso Old Town, with 2 others currently fighting for their lives. The accident occurred in the early hours of Tuesday and involved a saloon car, a trailer, and a mini truck transporting building materials. Eyewitnesses said the victims were traveling from Kumasi to Offinso when the crash occurred. Nanaya Jima joins us with details of the accident. Nanaya, what happened? Nanaya, tell us what you know about the incident. Unmute and speak to us. Yes, great, go ahead.
Information we have is that the accident involved
Looks like Nanaya's connection is frozen there, but we're trying to still establish contact with him. Nanaya, can you hear me now?
Yes,
great.
You are audible.
Great, let's go.
So information we've been able to gather is that the accident involved 3 vehicles, one a long truck, the other a mini Kia truck, and a saloon vehicle, which the saloon one is a commercial vehicle. The information is that the saloon vehicle, according to eyewitnesses, made an overtaking, which they claim was a reckless one. And in attempt by the long truck to save this this vehicle, which had made a reckless overtaking, ran into the pedestrian way. Now, in the middle of saving the other vehicle, the vehicle stopped, according to the eyewitnesses, and unfortunately, the mini truck, which was carrying some flammable materials, veered off the road in an attempt to save the people who were in the vehicle, that's the mini truck itself. Now, in that attempt, unfortunately, that vehicle veered off the road, hit the bridge, and since it was carrying some flammable materials, a fire started. It caused fire, killing the two people, the occupants of this mini truck. So the two people who were in the mini truck, that's the driver himself and one other passenger, died in the accident. I must say the accident happened the early hours of the day, and so far information we've been able to gather is that NADMO, the police and other officials have been there, and they've been able to move these vehicles off the road to make way for
Nana Jimade giving updates on that accident there. Well, we'll get more from him when we're able to establish contact with him once again. Well, moving on to Parliament now. Energy and Agri ministers, along with other government officials, are expected to appear before Public Accounts Committee as scrutiny intensifies the issues flagged in the Auditor General's report. James Aveji is in Parliament and joins me with the latest. James, what can you report?
So just gone by is the Ministry of Youth Development, led by the Minister George Offinso, where the National Service Scheme Authority actually appeared before the committee to answer questions on one infraction about a district NSS director who took some levies from some NSS persons in the Tepa area and did not account for that money. His justification is that he's used it to undertake some renovation in some hostel facility that was supposed to accommodate the NSS persons. The Auditor General's report indicated that he needed to refund that money just in a region of about 5,000 Ghana cedis, and he has been able to refund that, and so that matter has been closed. Sitting before the committee now is the Ghana Shippers Authority, led by Professor Ransford Jampo, who is the MD for that particular authority under the Ministry of Transport. A number of agencies, actually about 6-7 of them, including the Ghana Civil Aviation Authority and other agencies under the Transport Ministry, who currently appear before the committee. Professor Ransford Jampo is answering questions on the agencies, the authorities' purchase of some landed property without title, which the Auditor General has flagged, and that's what they are answering on now. The Agri Minister, I must say, Dr. Eric Opoku, is currently also in the committee room. We know that it is also expected to appear before the committee and answer on the Auditor General's report on some fertilizer issues and issuance to farmers within the year 2024. And so he is currently also in the committee room. And so that's how the day is expected to roll out as far as the committee sitting is concerned, Mamiezi.
Right. Did you say the Energy Minister is also there in the committee room?
I'm yet to cite the Energy Minister anytime soon, but on the program we have, the Energy Ministry is also expected to appear before the committee. The minister I've seen so far is the both Transport Minister as well as the Agri Minister, Dr. Eric Opoku, and the Transport Minister is the one appearing before the committee as we speak.
Right. Thank you, James, for the update. And you're still you're still watching, I beg your pardon, to JoyNews Desk here on the JoyNews channel. We go now to Parliament to take excerpts of that sitting.